About a week ago, I deployed about $18,000 worth of new mining rigs. That's the sound of my people over there in the corner. That is the most expensive rig of these by far. It's the IceRiver KS3M. These are ASIC miners. They're custom computers built literally for earning passive income, mining Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. I've also deployed two other miners. They're in here. One is the Antminer X5. It's the new Monero ASIC miner, but it's actually really just like a bunch of CPUs jammed in there. And the other one is the S19K Pro, which is very underrated so far Bitcoin miner. I don't think people realize how good this one is. But yo, my name is Vosk. You're out here on the VoskCoin mining farm and we're getting crazy. We're chasing the dream. And basically I want to run over the real world mining profitability. How much money did these make? How many dollars did they mine? How much coin did they mine? And basically, do these things have a good return on investment? Because a lot of people are calling me crazy for mining, but I'm thinking they're crazy for not. All right, so let's just dive right into it. No fluff, just stuff. So this is NiceHash. Why am I using NiceHash with my IceRiver KS3M? One very specific reason: it's difficult to deal with KASPA right now as a US citizen. So mining it and just getting paid straight out in Bitcoin, honestly, it's just very easy for me. And while I'm excited for KASPA in the future, I have very firm belief in Bitcoin. So you can see my KS3M down there. NiceHash is saying that it's making about 75 bucks every 24 hours. When we actually break down the data, and this was before I moved any other miners over here, you can see my average hash rate, which is a bit above what they project, which is very cool to see. But then there's a 2% rejection, so doesn't really matter. For reference, if your shares are rejected, you're just not getting paid on them. So if I have a 2% rejection, I basically have a 2% reduction in my mining profitability. We look at my total earnings here and compiling them, getting an average. Also, I apologize. I need to put a curtain up in my office, so when the sun comes in at this time and angle, it just blitzes out my green screen in the back. I'm sorry. Oh, and there's a cloud. So anyway, so that's the deal. So we can see the earnings. Also due to an issue with my mining farm, my miners went down yesterday, pretty much all of them. And so that impacted the uptime there. So we can basically just throw that out as an outlier. So over the last week, I mined about 0.02 Bitcoin, which translates to about 12,000 KASPA, right? Because when we're dealing with NiceHash, they give us a USD readout if we click on it, but we're getting paid in Bitcoin. All these numbers are in Bitcoin. So I mined 0.02 Bitcoin. That seems like a pretty good number to me, right? What does that translate to into dollars? So that translates to about 12,043 KASPA, translates to about $563, which then translates to about $80.40 per day. This is a wildly profitable mining rig. Very, very profitable, but it's very expensive. But the prices have gone down on them recently. We have all three of the miners we're talking about today, thanks to ASIC Marketplace. We've started working with them this year. They've been a pleasure to work with, and above all, they got these miners to us fast. And speed is the name of the game in mining, especially with KASPA mining. So thank you so much to ASIC Marketplace for making today's video possible. Furthermore, you could use our link to support the channel, but why not support yourself and the channel by punching in the code VoskCoin and getting a discount that will beat or match any discount on their site, for example, like this Howdy 51. And while you may think this is just an ASIC Marketplace plug, let me remind you that if you go and buy this miner direct from IceRiver, you will literally pay more, okay? So do yourself the courtesy of ordering it from ASIC Marketplace instead, or somewhere else, you know, whatever you want to do really, and pay less. Logging into the miner again, the farm went down yesterday, but before that, the performance on this thing has been good. I have had a weird issue where once in a while, and maybe a NiceHash issue, that it fails on NiceHash, but then it fails over to my backup pool. And so I'm not getting downtime with the miner. It's still mining, it's still hashing away, but it just starts mining KASPA, and I'm accumulating the KASPA coins on F2 pool here, as opposed to mining essentially Bitcoin through NiceHash. So we can see the performance. This is in the VoskCoin HQ, which was codenamed the Field Building. So I just put it in there because I'm reorganizing the farm. I've got some space. I've got an outlet, right? I got the juice, and it's getting colder here, so it's easy to run. And I would actually prefer to get the temperature up in that building. Granted, it's got a little bit of noise pollution, but it's kind of turned into my little KASPA corner where I've got a KS0, a KS1, and now the KS3M, which I proudly display over there. But miner's good, it runs, and it performs on average a little bit better than it's supposed to, so that's cool. That's all you could ever ask for. But let's make no mistake, this is a very expensive mining rig in just a sector that's been ballooning in hash rate. We look over the last year, oh my gosh, and this only goes back to April here. The network hash rate was under 1 petahash back in April, and it was pretty much 1 petahash through May and even into June here. So it started ballooning in July. This is critical because imagine you're making 50 bucks a day. Well, the network hash rate has 50x'd since then. So you, instead of making $50 per day, would be making $1 per day. And that's kind of pretty much what happened and how it felt with the KS0. Another thing most people don't know is that KASPA is a unique cryptocurrency that halves not yearly or every 4 years, but literally a reduction in issuance every month. It's a linear issuance reduction, and it's actually on track for basically an annual halving of the amount of coins mined. And if the price stayed the same, then the amount of money mined per day would thus be cut in half. KASPA has the 3rd highest emission in all cryptocurrencies tracked on mining pool stats. So a lot of money there, but a lot of people going after that money now because Iceriver is not the only one making KASPA ASIC miners. These are all purpose-built machines we're talking about in today's video. And they're plug and play passive income machines. Yes, sure, hell yeah, okay, let's go. But Bitmain and Iceriver are looking to make a killing selling as many of these as they can. So it's an interesting development, but let's take a second to credit KASPA, which hit an all-time high within the last month. How many cryptocurrencies can say that? Let me tell you, not many. It's a top 50 cryptocurrency already, so it's been interesting, and they're commanding pretty serious trading volume. A couple big exchange listings like Binance or Coinbase, I'd love to see what that would do to this cryptocurrency's price. But let's move forward to some of these other miners that are less climactic than this one. So in the last 24 hours I've mined 474. When I was looking at this earlier, I had mined about $5 worth of Monero XMR. This is with the Bitmain Antminer X5. The Bitmain Antminer X5 Monero XMR miner, 212 kilohash a second on the random X mining algorithm. That hash rate commands only 1,350 watts of power. That's very low power consumption for an ASIC miner. So just be very aware of that. Like, that's pretty cool. You could deploy twice as many X5s as you could S19 Bitcoin miners, with the same electrical capabilities. But you still need 240 voltage on here because they're utilizing the same power supply. So make sure to watch the electricity guide we put out if all that seems foreign to you. But don't, get intimidated by it. It's pretty simple and easy to deal with. These miners are in stock, ready to ship at ASIC Marketplace. You could say, well, I'll go buy it from Bitmain. Okay, so make sure you understand when you buy from Bitmain, you're paying a 30% tariff if you're in the US. So that pushes this price way up. All their coupon stuff is kind of BS, to put it simply. Furthermore, they're out of stock. So do with that what you will. Monero is not only a top 50 cryptocurrency, but it's a top 30, nearly top 25 at 27. Trading at about $151 a coin. This is a very old coin. This is an OG coin, period. Monero has actually gone through all of their halvings, emission reductions, and stuff like that, and they've entered what's called the tail emission phase. Essentially, what that means is just going to be that there's a little bit of Monero minted forever to encourage miners and security of the chain. So while there may not be all that just much funds to go after here, it's still putting out over $65,000 of new coins per day with a $3 billion market cap. It's basically simple, OG, straightforward, low but consistent emission that shouldn't really go down. There's a lot of stability in that price point, but of course, it's not financial advice. It's something I'm pretty excited for, but disappointed with the daily returns, but they're not out of the realm of really what I expected. If we look at the last 7 days, right, I talked about 24 hours, but if we look at the last 7 days, 2 miners gives me an easy readout here. It's about $33 when I did the math earlier. And excluding some of the downtime my farm had, it's basically earning $4.70 a day, which is right on target with that number. And then after I pay my 10 cent per kilowatt hour electricity bill, and because electricity really hardly even matters with like the KS3M because it's just so freaking profitable, this is a very significant portion of the earnings. I'm only pulling about $1.50 a day after I pay the electricity bill. And with a miner that costs that much, right? I mean, 1.5 times 365, it's $547. Okay, so I mean, I need to go out 6 years at this trajectory to try to get my money back after I pay the electricity bill. Personally, I think greener days are in the future with a crypto bull run, hopefully sooner than later. When, nobody knows. But this is very much so a slow and steady miner. It's expensive for what it earns. Looking at the way the Monero community received an ASIC CPU miner, it's essentially CPUs inside of an ASIC box, if you will. It has very similar performance to a CPU for Monero mining. The downside here is it's harder to CPU mine other coins because Bitmain has essentially locked it so far. We'll see where that goes. But overall, I'm actually pretty excited with this miner because Monero is a crypto I like compared to many of the other altcoins that are, you can possibly mine.
Hey guys, it's Ms. Vosk here to tell you about today's video sponsor, Radix. Radix is a full stack layer 1 protocol built to allow users to easily use Web3 and DeFi confidently. The Radix token is currently ranked number 79 when ranked by market cap on CoinGecko and is up over 5% in the past 24 hours. The token is currently available on KuCoin, Bitfinex, Gate.io, and Mexi. They also have a wrapped version of their token, eRadix, or EXRD, that's on the Ethereum blockchain, making it easier to trade. If you want to learn more about Radix, check out our full video review or click the link in the description below. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research before investing.
Remoting into the Bitmain Antminer X5. Again, farm went down a day ago, but before that it was running well. This miner's been performing well. I'm happy with it. I've seen some people complaining about all kinds of issues with their X5. That has not been the case for me. Mine has been fine. And trust me, I say everything I don't like about Bitmain whenever I want to, even to the point that they've asked me to remove videos and that they would want to work with me if I remove these videos. And naturally I say no, because I'm here to keep it real. As always, the truth is the truth. But anyway, to bring it back on topic, pretty good rejection rate on this miner. Hash rate is pretty much what it's supposed to be. It says that the report's higher than the advertised hash rate, which is always good. You'll notice that I have NiceHash here and it pings on NiceHash, but this miner, I've not gotten it to work on NiceHash. I don't know. I haven't messed around with it too much either, but it always sits on NiceHash as an option, or as being there, but it never actually connects there, mines, whatever. But no big deal. I'm just mining Monero, and that's fine, and I'll look at some alternative solutions possibly in the future. But the bottom line is, this has been a controversial performance release. But it's been performing fine for me, for whatever it's worth. But I think, how much it earns versus the price point, they're really trying to capitalize on the simple fact that, Monero's an OG coin. I think that miner costs $1,000 more than it should. And trust me, it's going to take a long time to mine a G. with that miner depending on your electricity rate. So let's kind of get away from altcoins. Let's get back to the core of the VoskCoin mining farm. It's gonna be Bitcoin miners. The S19K Pro, 2 Gs for this. Prices are continuing to trend down. I think this will be even cheaper sooner. How long do you want to wait? 2,760 watts, low power consumption for a Bitcoin miner in this era, 120 terahash a second at that power consumption. This miner is really good efficiency for what it is. So I've been pretty excited about this. This is honestly comparable, especially once you start overclocking it and messing around with the settings with aftermarket firmware or an aftermarket control board. This is essentially a Bitmain Antminer S19 XP for cheaper, okay? So this is some of the mining performance over the last week or so. I've mined about 0.001885 Bitcoin over the last week, or about, we'll say $54. It's a bit of a round up. 54 divided by 7 is about $7.70 a day. With the power consumption on this, I mean, I'm really putting less than $1 into my pocket at my not the best, but not the worst electric rate. That's not something to write home about, right? But on the other hand, I'm actively accumulating over $50 of Bitcoin a week. And of course, there's an associated bill here, but I run all this stuff against my business and things like that. So, you know, I'm not here to push this, that, or whatever. It's just data. And this makes sense for me. And I'm not really too worried about the current price of most cryptocurrencies. This is a time of cheap miners and honestly, cheap crypto prices. So much like people try to buy the dip on cryptocurrencies, I'm trying to buy the dip on miners, get my mining farm set up, and I hope for greener days and a nice sweet bull run. Coming in here to the miner, I mean, everything kind of checks out as we would expect. We got intake side 43C, outtake side as high as 70C. Pretty good performance, everything we should expect. Again, the farm went down yesterday, so I don't have a long runtime, but it was running flawlessly prior to that as well. This is a miner I like, I'm very excited for. I wish we saw earlier in the life cycle of the S19 series, and it's going to fare better against the next generation of like the Antminer S21, which has higher efficiency than this, but not by a huge magnitude comparatively. All right, so let's round out the numbers. 50, 33, 563. So let's just call it 650, right? So I've got about $18,000 of new mining rigs invested into the VoskCoin mining farm. Granted, we are leveraging the VoskCoin channel with ASIC Marketplace to deploy this gear. So I'm never trying to masquerade as, you know, something that I'm not. We buy a lot of miners at face value. That was not the case here, but the numbers are reality for whatever it's worth. So when we look at that 650 price point, we've got about 18 grand. You know, if you're going to buy these today, they were even a higher price when ordered, but I don't really see the point of making this video with retro prices as opposed to just if you're going to watch this and you could participate right now prices. 650 is the earnings combined for a week, so we're not doing 365, we're going to do 52. So over the next 52 weeks, if nothing changed, which will not be the case, we would earn 34 grand, right? So we minus 1,800 from that. So then we've got about, let's say, 16 grand. These miners will roughly cost me $7,300 annually to run. So instead of clearing about 16 grand, I'll be clearing closer to $9,000. Again, if nothing changed. Well, there's two ways to look at this. Well, you could be like, well, more and more miners are going to be sold. More and more miners are going to come online. Profits will go down. You know, this is a losing scenario. Maybe over the next year we hit a crypto bull run and these things become massive cash cows and the prices of these miners skyrocket at the same time. Because although many miners can essentially become e-waste, especially eventually, many miners, if bought at the right time, will not only appreciate in value, but they can 5x themselves right alongside coin prices. So as always, nobody knows, but I'm happy to be playing the game, engaged with mining, and I think that as I play the long game, things will work out eventually. Furthermore, for me, I am paying my electricity bill out of pocket. We've got a runway for years on the electric bill with the mining farm. I am mining coins, I am stacking coins, I am hodling them, and I'm just gonna keep stacking away until the next bull run. That's it. That's the plan, that's the strategy. It's really that simple. And as the sun blurs me out here, well, I guess that's when I'll make my exit. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, seriously. The VoskCoin YouTube channel is nothing without y'all. So here's the latest update on the gear, for better, worse. And I hope you enjoyed the content. Anything I didn't cover, please let me know. Videos you want to see next and all that. I'm just here to try to have fun, make good content, and well, on that note, I'm gonna head out. But first, as always, 10 seconds of tales. Our resident Dogecoin and CMO, Chief Mining Officer.
When you let me, baby,